Okay, so I don't really have a script, I'm just gonna go off of thoughts mostly. This is only really to be viewed for the Rec Room for Change server. It's just, I figured that people are gonna post things here, so I may as well contribute. And if it's the first one there, then it's the first one there. Deal with it, I guess. This game has been in an absolute shit show since I would say about... Well, it was really good in 2018, it was amazing in 2019, and it was spectacular in 2020. I would say this game started to change for the worse in Christmas 2020. At least that's when I experienced it. It wasn't more so like a dev problem. The devs were actually not even that bad. The devs aren't bad today. They're doing their best. It was more so a community thing that started us all off. With kids getting a Quest 2 for Christmas, that means that, you know, children are going to come to this game and, you know, we kind of saw the effect there. It didn't exactly end off the game. If anything, it grew the game from popularity wise, which isn't a bad thing per se, especially financially. For people who played this game like before it came out to everyone else, you'd probably agree that it wasn't the best effect for the game for all these kids to get a Quest 2 to just represent as being full of gift me or annoying people or putting buckets on heads. Like, this is shit that people have had to deal with for a long time. And, you know, that's not even a core issue. Like, people can deal with that. That's not even that bad. But it was the constant drama of reporting, vote kicks, all of this business that just, it got bad. I'll give Rec Room this. Today, toxicity is nowhere near as bad as it used to be, and that is mostly due to voice bans, which I think is pretty amazing. But that was definitely what started off a lot of what made Rec Room not as good as it used to be. But it wasn't just the community that destroyed this game. It was a lot of in-devs work. You know, devs have investors that they need to satisfy their needs for, which is very understandable, and we can understand that fully, obviously. But it comes to a point. Rec Room at this current stage is trying to grow their game as a UGC platform for people to create what they want. Rec Room used to be a social VR platform where people could meet people from all around the world and do all these wonderful things, and honestly, it was great. But I don't have a problem with Rec Room trying to change their gravity, but when it changes the game this much to the point where they don't care about the old RROs, they don't care about new RROs really. They don't even use Unity for the new RROs. These are games that you can make. Like, you're not gonna see someone making laser tag. You can't recreate laser tag because that is such a classic RRO that everyone loves. Well, not everyone, but you know. With the game growing, obviously, it brought in a lot of new people. Sorry. It brought in a lot of new people, and you know, that's a good thing, obviously. But coming back to the community part of the game, it brought in a lot of bad people. When you have a lot more bad people in the game, full of children or teenagers like myself, a 16-year-old, you need to make sure that you have supreme moderation. Like, there is no errors in your moderation. And we haven't really been seeing that. The VMods that are here today, I mean, I see a VMod like once a week in a rec center, and that's me being on PC VR. When I used to be a standalone user, I would see one like once every 4 months. That's no exaggeration, by the way. The one time where I did see a bunch of VMods is the time when I won this. But you're gonna expect to see a lot of VMods there, aren't you? Because, you know, a lot of Rec Room officials are there. But going back to that, VMods are just not as good as they used to be. Rec Room needs more VMods who are actually good at what they're gonna do. For example, league managers. Like, there's a league manager I know called Roxy who owns Sniper League. How she isn't a VMod is beyond me. She's one of the best moderators that I have ever seen in Rec Room. And yes, Awesome Rawsome, who is a paedophile, does have a VMod, which is stupid. By the way, I'm just going to use it as a TDLR. Don't harass anyone that I mention. It's just a dick move. They already have a lot of stuff going on. And while I don't respect them in the slightest, it's just going to fight fire with fire. And it's not going to do anything. I'm just calling people out who I know are actually bad. Let's talk about building. Building in this game used to be amazing. The Maker Pen, oh my god, bro, I used to see these rooms, outstanding, beautiful pieces of art. People who made old rooms, like for example, Crescent Cliffs, oh my god, I can't remember any. I remember Soulfox there was one, but that's not really, that's alright. But those old rooms that were made with just Maker Pen and no Rec Room Studio because it wasn't a thing, I remember being so inspired by that. I wanted to learn Maker Pen so bad. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I went through new dorms until I finally found one that I actually liked. And it still looks like shit. But honestly, those are like Rec Room Prime, because you could make something that you are proud of and the entire community praises you. There's no backlash, there's no nothing. And with contests, you go to like the roomies, you win awards, you get exclusive items. Honestly, that was amazing. I cannot ever fault Rec Room for stuff like that. Peak times. But now you look on the hot page, like, hold on, give me like, what is this? 300k visits for an obby. Rec Room have done a better job at dealing with this, but it's still, there's still a lot of low effort rooms in Rec Room that need to be dealt with, and I don't know if they ever will, to be honest. Obviously, I know Rec Room is trying to combat this situation, and they're doing an okay job at doing it so far, but it's not, I just can't. Personally, I would have preferred it if Rec Room Studios wasn't even a thing. Like, it never came out. I think it would have been so much better for Rec Room. And yeah, you can make all of these awesome rooms now, but it's just not the same as Maker Pen. Sure, Rec Room Studio, it's great, and you know, you can make so many things of it, but it's not Rec Room. And what it is what Rec Room's turning into. Oh, it's just not what Rec Room used to be. Which is a primary example of why a lot of people are leaving this game. Something that Rec Room's recently been doing is rolling out New Bean to everyone, and they've also been cutting off access to Old Bean. This is present on new accounts and also on people who don't want it, like for example me. Thank god I still have Old Bean because I'd be crying. New Bean isn't essentially that bad. I mostly pay attention to the league side of it because, you know, I enjoy laser tag, and it doesn't make a huge impact. The hitboxes are really weird, and it also just looks janky. Like, that walk animation's awful, and that's something that Rec Room needs to fix up, definitely, for sure. I don't have a huge problem with it. I think it is better optimization wise, obviously, because it is literally made for that. But if they mess it up more, I don't think it's worth. One more thing that I'll go over. I think personally Rec Room is abandoning leagues. We haven't seen a lot for leagues in a long time. Like, we haven't seen a lot of promotion, we haven't seen liaisons doing anything really. It's just been very dead. Obviously leagues are still going on. I mean, there's literally a poll draft yesterday and one in 6 hours. But that's all community focused, or that's all community led. The only liaison I've actually seen playing leagues recently is Mama Bear. I don't really have a problem with liaisons, but they just don't do anything. I remember for Laser Tag League, it took a few months, or like a month or two, for rewards to finally be rolled out. I don't know if that was liaisons, it could have just been managers, but like, managers are really optimized in Laser Tag League. They don't really have any problems. They're all really good managers, so I don't think it was them. I feel like it was liaisons, but you know, that just proves my point, that liaisons need to do more for leagues, because it is a small portion of their job and don't really pay attention to it, but it is still their job, so they should do stuff about it. Some leagues just shouldn't be sponsored at all. Like, for example, RHL. I don't think that should be sponsored in the slightest. It is like one of the hardest leagues to ref for. It is actually the hardest league to ref for ever. The community is extremely, well, they're a mix. They can either be very welcoming or they can be just complete weirdos. The manager, Gordon Ramsay, has said a lot of bad things before. Like, remember he made a Hitler joke, and liaisons actually did intervene there. They did actually talk to him about it, but they just gave him a slap on the wrist. Nothing happened. Like, they gave him a little slap. Don't do this again, or you know, it's gonna be really bad. But no, nothing happens. These games are incredibly scuffed as well. Like, bro, it is so bad. I don't know how the hell that league is still sponsored, let alone how people get golden discs from it. Not they just dog on RHL. It is a really good league, in my opinion. A lot of other leagues are really good. Actually, I think every league is really good. It got sponsored for a reason, but I don't think it should be sponsored. It's not a league that I personally think is good. It's not a league that I think is great. One last thing that I'm gonna say is I'm just a regular player. I've been playing this game for a good 6-7 years, and from my experience, it has only gotten worse, and it's only gonna get worse. This game needs to seriously improve on being less of a game and being more of a community, in my opinion, and it is gonna be really hard to backtrack. They're trying way too hard to be like Roblox, and they are not Roblox. They are a VR social platform. They are not UGC. It's trying to be UGC way too much, and it's not going great. Anyways, yeah. Thank you for listening to me rant. Hopefully this wasn't too long.